Good evening and welcome to another edition of Tigers Roar. I'm Tommy Krysan of Pelican Sports TV. Glad to have you tuned in tonight. We got 2 hours of jam-packed stuff for you tonight. I'm joined by Carter Bryant. Carter, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing great, and I'm already getting ready to crumple up my bracket.
Why? It didn't start yet.
Well, yeah, I know, but you might as well go ahead and get a head start on when it's trash. So I'm going to go ahead and probably going to have this thing balled up by the end of the night because, I mean, I'm usually decent accurate when it goes to the Final Four, but early in the tournament, I'm usually around 500, which, you know, I wouldn't guess you're an expert if you go about 500 early in the bracket.
Probably got to be a little higher than that, but speaking of the NCAA tournament, brackets due tomorrow for all your different events and pools and fun things you're in. We did our brackets. I did mine. I revealed it on Pelican Sports Radio today. Carter had a key on how you should fill out your bracket. He'll share that with you tonight on TV because in a little while here on the program, Carter's going to be joined by former LSU basketball player Alex Farr, who was part of an SEC championship team, played for Trent Johnson, part of that LSU team that knocked off Duke. They're going to talk about the NCAA tournament. They'll talk a little bit about LSU, whose season ended Tuesday night in Oregon, 96-76 loss in the first round of the NIT. You know that by now. But anyway, we'll talk about that. Going to have some spring football for you. We're going to give you some comments from last week by Coach Les Miles. We'll have a little bit of practice highlight. It's not brand new stuff, but you'll still be able to get a lot out of it and enjoy it. We're going to talk a little bit about the New Orleans Saints tonight. Obviously, Pelican Sports TV and Tigers Roar is in Baton Rouge, Lafayette, and New Orleans, and some really big stories about the Saints. This is obviously primarily an LSU show, but we do talk some ULL Raging Cajuns, some Tulane, UNO, New Orleans Saints, because it's all part of sports in South Louisiana. We'll hit up some Saints stuff as well tonight. We'll have some clips from Coach Trent Johnson, back from Oregon. 4 in the morning they got back from the West Coast, and they met with the press today, a season-ending press conference. We'll have those comments. We'll also, Carter and Alex Farr will have some comments about the SEC teams in the NCAA tournament. There are only 4 of them, and Carter and Alex will get into all of that for you. We'll talk baseball. They're playing as we speak, literally winning 5-0 through 4 innings out at Alex Box Stadium against the Northwestern State Demons. Through 4 innings, LSU had 5 runs on 5 hits. Northwestern State 0 runs on 2 hits through 4 innings. We got a few other things to mention for you tonight, some golf topics, some softball, again, the men's and the women's golf, a little track and field, more honest for Kimberly Duncan. Seems like every time we turn around, she's getting a little something. So it's a jam-packed show because, Pelican Sports Radio is only 1 hour, but we got 2 hours tonight to have some fun, Carter.
We're going to have a lot of fun, and Alex and I, we're going to give you everything you need to know about the upcoming bracket. It's the funnest time. It's the funnest thing in probably all sports to predict. And like we were sharing before the show, anybody can win any bracket pool. And I was sharing early on the radio show that one of my tutors for Spanish, she asked me in return to fill out a bracket because I am a sports personality, I guess you could say. Anybody has a chance to fill out the best bracket because that's how crazy this tournament could be. And last year, it's going to be tough to top what we saw in the NCAA tournament. Of course, it was an ugly finish. But this year's bracket is going to be one of the best we've ever seen. You got a mixture of experience, young, talented teams, and you have teams like Long Beach State with Casper Ware, UNLV, St. Bonaventures with Nicholson in the middle. A bunch of teams that are lower seed, double-digit seeds, that can easily make a run for the Final Four.
Well, and there was some craziness in the play-in games in Dayton, Ohio on Tuesday night, a big comeback. Western Kentucky, who won a game, entering the tournament less than 500, fired their coach back in January. And actually in a game against the ULL Raging Cajuns, not that it was the coach's fault, but 6 players on the floor for ULL, and they hit a winning bucket. But now they win a play-in game, and then Iona was way out on BYU. Looked like they were going to smoke them and light the scoreboard up, maybe break it. BYU turned that thing around. A couple of more play-in games tonight. The real tournament, the tournament starts tomorrow, with just games on, live look-ins, the whole bit. It's one of the funnest days in sports, that first 2 days of Thursday and Friday, the opening round games of NCAA tournament all over the country. Going to be fun, and it's a lot, and we're going to talk a lot about that tonight. I filled out my bracket. I'm one of these guys. I told you I only did 1 bracket, but I did 2 actually. I did one with our good buddy Southern Sports Tonight, Scott McKinney, radio show in Fort Walton Beach, Florida. And those of you that listen to Scott and hear me every Wednesday, appreciate you tuning in online tonight at PelicanSportsTV.com. I did one on his deal, and then I did mine today at the office, and I got the same Final Four in winter. I may have had some of the other things that I might have mixed up a little bit. But basically, one thing, and I mean, no reason for suspense. I have Michigan State winning it all in the finals in New Orleans, in the New Orleans Superdome. I got Michigan State, Tom Izzo getting his second title. But my little bit of a surprise, not a total surprise, because some people are barking about this team. I got them taking care of Florida State.
How about those Seminoles and Coach Hamilton? I like Florida State a lot, too. I like the way they're playing right now. They will have some trouble against Cincinnati if Cincinnati does beat Texas. But you look at Florida State with Dolke's on the outside. They can shoot the rock, and they also have an inside game. Let's see if Coach Hamilton, a guy that really took Florida State to the next level in last year's tournament, can really become that next tier of coaches right underneath the great ones in college basketball. So if he could take this team to a Sweet 16, much less an Elite 8, that guy is really, you might be looking at a better job for him, maybe the Illinois job. So I'm ready to see how this tournament comes out. And one more thing, I got to give BYU a shout out because Coach Love and the Brigham Young, they don't have Jimmer Fredette. Their backs are against the wall. They don't have their star player from last year, and they come out and make one of the best comebacks against Iona. You saw Iona on the floor yesterday. They had no idea what was going on. It looked like their dog just died, basically. And you see that comeback. That's what makes college basketball special. That's what makes right now special. We're going to get all into that, and we're going to share what all SEC teams can make it to the Final Four. I'm going to tell you this, not just Kentucky's going to make it this year.
Well, and we'll talk about all that, and Alex Farr, former LSU basketball player, will be joining Carter in about 15, 20 minutes here on the set. They'll get more in-depth to it. And then, of course, we have Pelican Sports Radio. We'll have that the remaining 2 days of the week. It is a Monday through Friday thing from 3 to 4 p.m. Pelican Sports Radio on KKAY 1590 AM. Spread the word about our program. It's available online at kkay1590.com. There's a free app on the smartphones at TuneIn, tunein.com. It's every Monday through Friday from 3 to 4. We take your calls. We have different guests on the program, different interviews. We spoke with Craig Hoffman of OrangeFizz.net all about the Fab Mello eligible for Syracuse thing on Tuesday. So we got really good stuff for you on Pelican Sports Radio, Monday through Fridays from 3 to 4. And your phone calls are welcome, emails, the whole bit. Please spread the word about our program and catch it, because obviously Thursday and Friday there'll be a lot of NCAA hoop talk, no question about that. Also, we remind you about Pelican Sports Radio from 3 to 4, but there's an all-day sports lineup on KKAY 1590 AM. In the mornings, Jordy Hultberg airs from 7 until 9 with the Jordy Hultberg Show. A lot of basketball talk there. Obviously, Jordy, a former player and assistant coach at LSU. Chad Bluen from 9 to 11. Buddy Sanji will keep it spicy from 1 to 3. And then Pelican Sports Radio 3 to 4. Spread the word about all the programs, Monday through Friday on KKAY Radio 1590 AM on your dial, Global Radio, kkay.com. And the TuneIn is a free app for all the smartphones, and you can listen that way as well. Great way to keep up with everything happening at Pelican is our Facebook page. The Facebook page is Pelican Broadcasting. You can communicate with us that way as well. Also follow us on Twitter at Pelican Sports. That's the Twitter account. The YouTube page, YouTube/Pelican Broadcasting. Got all kind of stuff there and ways for you to find us. And you can always send us an email at pelicanbroadcasting@gmail.com. It's a great way to keep up with Pelican Sports TV, Baton Rouge, Lafayette, New Orleans, and streaming on the internet, pelicansportstv.com. So lots of good stuff there. When we come back, we're going to talk a little LSU football for you, get you some comments from last week with Coach Miles and some of the players. Spring game will be Saturday, March 31st in Tiger Stadium at 12:30 that afternoon. LSU plays Arkansas at home in baseball that night, so you can kind of make a day of it out there on the campus at LSU. With Carter Bryant, I'm Tommy Christ, and we're going to come back with some football stuff for you. That's right, Tiger football coming right back at you. You are tuned to Tigers Roar on Pelican Sports TV, Baton Rouge, Lafayette, New Orleans, and on the internet at pelicansportstv.com.
Hi, I'm Troy Landry. You're watching Pelican Sport TV. I'm fixing to shoot him. Shoot him.
I'm attorney Kerry Bryson. An IRS problem is a serious legal matter. The IRS has thousands of agents trained to understand it all. So don't trust an out-of-town salesperson. Come meet with us in person at our office right here in Baton Rouge. Your first visit will be free and confidential. If you're a Louisiana resident and have an IRS problem, hire a Louisiana attorney. Hire me, Kerry Bryson.
Hey, I'm Dr. Bob Benson. What's the difference between every other hair restoration method and NeoGraft? It's like comparing a musket to a sharpshooter's rifle. Old methods use a scalpel which scars the back of the head, but with NeoGraft there's no scarring because each tiny follicle is removed individually under local anesthesia. Walk in, walk out, natural hair restoration, no scarring. I waited 35 years for this technology and then I became a patient. Call us today for your free consultation.
Hey, everyone's eating tacos outside Bill's office. Don't you think that's some information I would like to know? I like tacos. You invited Eric? I thought Eric gave you the creeps. Oh. Yeah. Hey.
Don't be left behind. AT&T, the nation's fastest mobile broadband network, is getting faster with 4G.
Now is a great time to lock into buying a new home. Come buy our decorated model home in Greystone of Prairieville. We are starting the development of our second filing and offering builders special closeout pricing on the remaining homes in our first filing. No money down, and builders pay closing costs. For more information, visit our website at greystoneofprairieville.com. Come home to Greystone.
We continue with Tigers Roar. Don't forget, this is live every Wednesday night from 8 to 10 p.m. If you're catching us on a Thursday, Friday, or Saturday on one of the many outlets that picks our program up, we appreciate you being tuned in and ask you to spread the roar. Let other folks know about this year-round program, 2 hours on a Wednesday night, 8 to 10 p.m., focusing on LSU athletics, mixing in a little something else every now and then, but we do appreciate you being a part of the program and help you spread the word. And again, find us on Facebook. The Facebook page is Pelican Broadcasting. That's a great way to keep up with everything, and you can communicate with us through that as well. We'll get your message, your comment, your question, your topic to the necessary people. Carter, spring football. Everybody's on that, obviously. LSU practiced on Tuesday, kind of split the offense and the defense up a little bit. There was some reports that, it wasn't the best day throwing the ball. Mettenberger didn't throw it real well. Receivers had a few drops here and there. Offensive line still trying to gel together with the number 1 unit, the number 2 unit. Linebackers seem to shine a little bit. Looks like they're going to have some talent on linebacker and defensive line.
Yeah, I'm ready to see what's going to happen to this defensive line. I was sharing it on Pelican Sports Radio actually yesterday. What are we going to see out of Anthony Johnson? That's the guy that I really want to focus in on, the big number 90 who's taking on Michael Brocker's number. Last year, Anthony, of course, wore number 56. And he was a guy who showed some flashes of brilliance against Mississippi State and against Auburn. Can he be that 3 technique, a guy that can line up outside the guard and, boom, stick those hands inside that guard's throat, push him back, get that penetration that you really saw from Michael Brocker's late in the year? Anthony Johnson has that next level type of capabilities. He has a hand quickness, he has eye coordination, along with Benny Logan, who's one of the more technically gifted defensive tackles. Benny's not a big guy, but he uses his hands well and he sheds off blocks pretty well to make tackles at the line of scrimmage. Can they get penetration, and can a defensive line overall get a better pass rush? As you see Anthony right there, that's number 96 right there. It's Mickey Johnson, a guy who didn't come out and practice. But you see a guy like this whole defensive line, they're going to have to mix well with the linebackers. And it's led by Kevin Minter. I see Kevin a lot on campus. He looks a little bit lighter. He's going to be leading the core. Todd Jones, I think, is going to be a little better player than people think, even though he is a little thin for a linebacker. So this front 7 for LSU, or front 6 because they play a lot of nickel package, they're filling some holes. Ryan Baker not a linebacker anymore. Of course, you lose Brockers there at defensive tackle, but at defensive end, you still have Barkevius Mingo, Sam Montgomery, and Jamaria Roscoe coming back. They're going to have a great front 7. I can't wait to see him at spring practice.
And those of you looking at the clips on the screen, that's Mettenberger right there, number 8 in the green jersey. That's Zach Mettenberger. He's the number 1 guy, as you know by now. That's him. And number 17 will be Steven Rivers, who's number 2 guy in the rotation now in the green jersey. Obviously, there's Tyrann Mathieu, number 7, with a little defensive drill. Obviously, defense in purple, offense in white. Green jersey means don't hit him, meaning it's a quarterback or it's a guy with some type of injury situation, which means no contact on the guy in the green. So anyway, what we want to do for you, we did grab some comments last week from Coach Les Miles and from the players out there at LSU. Some of you may have seen some of this already, but It's all about LSU football. We know people are very interested in that. So we're going to run these back down for you. These are comments just after spring practice started. They'll practice again Thursday and Saturday of this week. But here are some comments from Coach Miles and some of the players about spring practice 2012.
I like practice. I think there's a team that's we ran hard. We getting better. I like some improvement that some of the young offensive linemen, defensive linemen are making. I think they threw the ball extremely well today, considering how early we are in spring, and that continues. So nice, good practice, very physical. Nice start, nice finish.
We want to play the level we played this past year and try to be even better than that. So we have high expectations as a team. You know, the season didn't end the way we wanted to last year, so we feel like we got some unfinished business, and we're positive on the field, and we're just ready to get back to work.
The experience is obviously it's a great starting point, you know, but we feel like we have a lot of work that needs to be put in, and a lot of film study, a lot of work on the practice field to get even better.
Zach he's a great leader, kind of mild-mannered. You know, the last two quarterbacks we had were amazing, and Jordan and Jared, they were a little bit, you know, kind of quiet, you know, but like I say, Zach is mild-mannered, but he still speaks up and he still says what he has to say, and that's what we need out of that position, to be a little more vocal and just take chances at times.
It feels good to be back out there and playing, practicing. There's a lot of competition going on among the D-line, so to see that competition and just actually be among it is like a great opportunity. I mean, things are as usual, like the first couple of days are kind of like rough and shaky. Guys got to get back in used to like playing techniques, pad level and stuff like that. But like the competition that's among the D-line is like, it's great. Like the best that I've seen since we've been here. I mean, you got young guys that's in the same predicament I was in like a couple years ago, trying to fight, like showcase their talent to the coaches so you get some playing experience. So those guys are like eager and hungry to like come to the table and just eat. And so the competition that we have now is like great, and everybody just eager to like learn and just keep building from that.
Yeah, that's going to be an interesting spot there. I kind of like the Eagle Ferguson today, and I think that the Eagle did some really good things.
Oh, it's going good. You know, we're balanced attack. You know, we're throwing the football around, we're running it. Defensively, we're doing the same things we've done, done the last couple of years. And like I said, Coach Miles is giving us the, to go to throw the football. And as a receiving group and as the quarterbacks go, we have to do our part. Like I said, he's giving us the green light to, be a balanced team and make plays on the perimeter. And we have to go out there, like I said, and do our part and show them we can do it.
Us being, defensive backs, got a new position coach, so, we're trying to learn his technique, learn his fundamentals, and, just really put it into our game and, just make us that much better, going into the fall.
The one thing about Corey will immediately take technique to our guys and it require them to be proficient, really from snap to whistle. And that alignment, stance, start, the initiation of play, he's going to really coach eyes and a lot of great fundamentals. And again, with all those young defensive backs, that'll be an advantage for them, certainly an advantage for us.
I love Coach Coop, and I'm glad he had that step in his career. And I also love our new coach. He's all about technique. He's all about the mental part of the game. And so we need that, and we're going to try to get better.
Coach Coop is a little bit laid back. Coach Raymond is, kind of in the technique and fundamentals, every play. He just wants you to be, polished on every play and just really just finish every play.
We lost a couple guys in the secondary, so we're just trying to get the young guys some experience. And it's high tempo. I don't think I stopped moving at Price today, so it's a good thing they're trying to get us back in shape and ready for next season.
I think Jalen Collins and Jenkins, David Jenkins, are two guys that potentially are, pretty good corners.
Michael Eugene and, Ronald Martin, I think they're going to step up at the safety position. And, Jalen Collins, Ronnie Vincent, and, David Jenkins will definitely help us at the corner spot. So, we're just trying to, get those guys better, and just lead those guys and, just coach those guys as we go along.
We got a little more youth in the secondary, a little more youth, but I like to say, a little more athletic ability. people like, Michael Eugene, Ronald Martin, who, can play basketball at this level as well. So like I say, you throw Craig Lawson in there. Brandon Taylor was a great safety for us, and I think he's going to continue to be a great safety at the next level. But the young guys we have, they're very talented at that safety position, as well as the young guys like Jalen Collins and, David Jenkins. They're very talented on the outside, and they're going to push the two veteran guys in Thero and Tyron, for playing time. They're very talented, and they'll make a lot of plays this upcoming year.
We definitely got some shoes to fill, with Patrick and Mo coming before us. So, I know Thero's ready. I'm definitely ready for the challenge, and hopefully we could, be up there, put our name up there with those guys one day. I think we got 3 or 4 guys who, definitely ready for the leadership role, and we're gonna pursue it. And we definitely not gonna take any days off. And like you said, we lost three key guys to our secondary, so we just got to keep it going and keep progressing.
Well, I think Thurl Simon, and for that matter, Russell Shepard's made some big plays. I don't know that I think that there's a want to have a big year, really, for a lot of guys. But I think Russell Shepard, embodies that. I think he's looking forward to having a kind of year that would that would help the team and that he'd enjoy being counted on to do. I can tell you this: he got better today.
Yeah. Like I said, I want to be a leader to the young guys on and off the field. I want to be a dominant receiver at this level, consistent. I want to be a constant contributor to this team offensively, make big plays on the perimeter, as well as I want to be a better blocker. And like I said, there's always room to improve when you look at your game, and you never should be satisfied playing at this level. You always have talent year in and year out.
In the championship game, we got a little bit loose in our technique, and they beat us on the little things, I feel like. So I feel like we just got to get back to reading our keys and staying strong mentally, because, I think we have the physical aspect. We just got to make sure everybody knows what they have to do at all times.
Like I say, we have it all. We have it all. We have a veteran offensive line, playmakers on the outside. We got a stable of running backs, a veteran fullback, a very talented quarterback. So when you put all that together, we have all the pieces to the puzzle. It's up to us as players and as the upperclassmen, to show the young guys how we do it. And like I said, at the end of the day, man, we have it all. We can be a very, very talented team, and not too many times you can say we can be better than last year's team. And we have the talent and the age to be better than last year's team, and it's going to be pretty exciting.
Part one note on LSU football. We talked about it extensively last week here on the program. Mo Isom, the outstanding student athlete, outstanding person, homecoming queen, cover of 225 magazine, goalkeeper on the Brian Lee soccer team, had to try out a couple of days, and at this point it's been announced she did not make the team. It was said she could try out again in August if she desired to do that. I didn't think Les Miles would be a gimmick thing, although because he has a daughter who swims at the high level of competition. I guess he respected Mo Isom for wanting to try out, and he let her try out. But he's not going to put her on a team unless he feels it makes the team better. At this point, not yet. We'll see what happens in the fall. But I still think she deserves a huge tip of the hat for just for having the moxie to go out there and say, hey, I'm going to try to do this. I think I can do this. And she's going to be successful at whatever she does. We know that. And she wants to get into the sports journalistic world too. But it may not be kicking the football, but a great story that captured the nation's attention.
And anybody that's watched the program knows that Mo's a great friend of mine, and I'm proud of her, what she did. It's such a huge challenge, and tackling was going to be an issue. You're out there with not only just superior college athletes, but the best defensive players at college football. LSU's one of those 5 schools with just ravish bulls out there. And for her to even step on the field out there, even though she was a kicker, that's pretty impressive. I think Coach Miles is making the right decision. She's obviously not ready to kick the football yet, and obviously Coach Miles thinks it's not the right time, and she didn't fit into the program. I think her personality would have added to the team. I think her team morale, she's one of those great players, one of those great teammates, and that's what a lot of the LSU soccer players always talked about. So Mo, overall, great job, great story, but LSU football's looking to move on.
Well, and let's keep in mind they have some outstanding kickers with
They do.
Alleman and Hairston and some other guys on the squad. So it's not, I mean, if kicking would have been just a disaster last year and you didn't have any quality guys there, then maybe she has more of a chance of having an impact. But she's not going to move Drew Alleman out of the way or James Hairston. But nonetheless, great story. We know she's going to be successful. Don't have to wish her luck. She's going to do well at whatever she does. And hey, we may even have her in here on Tigers Roar one night for you and let her do a little segment with Carter. Still to come, we're going to get with Alex Farr, former LSU basketball player who was on the floor when they knocked off Duke, won an SEC championship prior to knocking off Duke. That's going to come up in just a little bit. But quickly before we go to break, the New Orleans Saints all over the news. Of course, the NFL free agency period started this week. A couple of things. One, they lose offensive guard All-Pro Carl Nix. He signs with Tampa Bay. Marcus Colston re-signs with the Saints. Robert Meacham signs with San Diego, and you see Drew Brees on your screen. He's not happy with the franchise tag. April 16th or 17th, mid-April, is the next workouts, the training sessions for the Saints. He wants a new contract, a long-term deal done by then, or it's possible that he will sit out, hold out, won't practice. Even though they put the franchise tag on him, it's not a done deal yet. Still plenty to be done by the front office and Drew Brees.
Yeah, you look at what the Hoodats are going through this offseason, it's been pretty bad. It's gotten about as bad as you possibly can get. I mean, they were able to get Marcus Colston. That's one thing we do need to bring up, that they were able to re-sign Colston to a 5-year deal. But you do lose Robert Meacham. San Diego, I think, overpaid for him. $6 million a year Meacham's going to get.
He'll get hurt before he gets before too long out there.
And more importantly, there's Meacham right there. More importantly, the Saints lost Carl Nix today, and that's massive. I mean, you lose one of the best left guards in all of football. All the advanced statistics show that Carl Nix was a productive player on the offensive line. The Saints are looking at left guard Ben Grubbs right now as a replacement. But it's huge. I mean, Saints still have Jari Evans. They still have some other guys, but it's going to be tough for the Saints to really put things together.
It's much more significant, the loss of Carl Nix, than it is Robert Meacham.
No doubt
Wide receivers can be fine. I mean, I'm stating the obvious, but you can get some wide receivers. You can get a wide receiver in a draft and come in and play right away, or they may sign somebody. Who knows? But the offensive line have a Pro Bowl guard. That's tough to find them. Although they talked to one of the Pro Bowl guards from the Baltimore Ravens today was in town. Ben Grubbs was in town meeting with the Saints today. So maybe they'll replace Carl Nix with a Pro Bowl guy. Who knows? But the big story is the Drew Brees thing and what will happen or not happen with that. Of course, we'll keep you posted on Pelican Sports Radio Monday through Fridays from 3 to 4. And if it's significant enough, it'll appear on Tigers Roar TV right here as well. All right, we got Carter Bryant. I'm Tommy Chrysan. This is Tigers Roar on Pelican Sports TV. And it's NCAA basketball time. I know you're psyched up about it. I'm getting into it. I had a little trouble getting fired up during the season, but now that all the tournaments are here, I'm kind of ready to rock and roll. And I'm going to turn loose here to you and Alex Farr, former LSU player. You can tell everybody a little bit about Alex when he gets on the set. I'll be back a little bit later on for the weekly run through the LSU athletic department, some more baseball, softball, all that good stuff for you. This is Tigers Roar. He's Carter Bryant. I'm Tommy Chrysan. Spread the roar. We're on in Baton Rouge, Lafayette, and New Orleans, and on the internet at PelicanSportsTV.com. Stay with us.
I'm Bruce Mitchell, and you're watching Pelican Sports TV.
When you need to hire, you need to know about BetterBatonRougeJobs.com, BetterAcadianaJobs.com, and NewOrleansJobsList.com. We have a faster, more affordable way to find and hire employees. Now you can save even more with the special offer from Pelican Sports TV. Post your jobs on any of these sites and use the promo code Pelican Sports to save an additional $25. Find qualified applicants and save money too with promo code Pelican Sports. And remember, we're free for job seekers and great for Louisiana business.
For the thirsty, for those who hang out in packs, for heroes, for sidekicks, for those who see the glass half empty, for those who see it half full, for those on the right, for those on the left, for those with nicknames, for those with curves, for people that cycle, for people that recycle, for BFFs, for frenemies, for those with style, for lovers, for families, for big families, for everyone.
What did you do this week? That's just some of the fun things we do every week here at Space Camp. Get more information about our programs at spacecamp.com. I want you to come join our team.
Attention all companies dealing with cash flow problems. Companies are going out of business every day. Bankruptcies are at an all-time high. Accounts receivable delinquencies are at the highest levels in decades. Let us help your business collect money owed to your business. NRH and Associates has the solutions. Let NRH and Associates utilize their innovative collection methods to get cash flow back into your business. Call 601-889-0501. That number again, 601-889-0501.
Welcome back to Tigers Roar, and as everyone can see right here, Tommy Krysan just got a little bit younger here. But
Better
anyway,
looking,
we're joined
looking.
And better looking. Wow, a little better looking
Don't
here.
tell him that. Just
Don't.
tell him that, right?
We're joined by Alex Farr today, former LSU round baller and writer for Tiger Sports Digest. Before we get into NCAA tournament talk, it's important to note that the LSU Tigers just had a 5-run inning. In the fifth, they lead Northwestern in-state rivals 10-0 right now. Aaron Nola, how about him on the hill so far this year?
He's a stud.
He's bringing it. He's going to be a weekend starter, and can't wait to see what he
Future's
does.
bright.
Yeah, future's bright for LSU baseball. If Nola can stay in that third part in the rotation, it'll be huge this weekend against Mississippi State. But we're here to talk about the sport that is prevalent right now in March, and it's college basketball. And you've been on Pelican Sports Radio the past couple weeks. We've been talking about college basketball on and off. Tonight, people, the team that you need to know. That is a lock for the Final Four. We'll get to that in just a second. But earlier today, there are 4 SEC teams in the NCAA tournament.
Yes.
There's one in each bracket. You look at Kentucky, the #1 seed in the overall tournament. In the South bracket, you also look in the West bracket. You have Florida Gators, a 7 seed. Here in the Midwest bracket, you have Alabama, a 9 seed. And in the East bracket, a team to watch out for, the Vanderbilt Commodores, you're defending SEC champions.
Yes,
I was able to go to Trent Johnson's press conference, and I wanted to ask Trent about his thoughts of the SEC in general and also his thoughts on the SEC teams going into the tournament. Here's that bite for it right here on Tigers Roar.
Good, but I said it earlier. I thought that Vandy could go deep. I think the world of Kentucky. I think they play extremely hard. You know, if there's a flaw, hopefully they won't get a guy hurt or a guy in foul trouble. I think Alabama, I think what Anthony's done has been exceptional, holding that thing together and showing the courage to discipline some guys. And then Florida. I mean, obviously, he knows what this is about. So yeah, I was a little disappointed in the shakeup of our league in terms of not getting 5 in. But again, that goes back to how this thing changes from week to week, and one guy in New York who's a beat writer could be negative on what he saw, and then I don't care anybody says it's human nature, they start looking at it and they start scrutinizing it. But when you look at what South Carolina did early in the year and how they went to Ohio State and had a chance to win that game, you look at what Georgia did in beating Notre Dame, and I got to throw us in there. You look at what we did in beating Marquette, who was the 10th ranked team at the time, without Andre Stringer. And when you start looking at that, I tend to think that sometimes the political part of it, because football is so strong, and then I think the middle sport sort of takes a little slighting. And I'm speaking from facts because I'm on the NABC board, and I sit in that conference room with Tom Izzo and Bo Ryan and certain guys, and I hear the backhanded comments. I'm not singling them two out, but I hear what goes on. And then again, I'm not beyond that because when I was in the Pac-10, I hear how soft that conference was, but I know what kind of team Ben Howland had. I know you all did too when they played. And I know what kind of team I had when we got to postseason. But also for me, the competitive side of me is like, oh, God, Bo, how we doing now? In this Big Ten, this conference of purity. We had some issues there, didn't we? I'm speaking of Tressel and all that kind of stuff.
Right briefly before we go into a little bit more tournament talk, LSU went on the road. yesterday in the NIT tournament, lost 96-76 against the Oregon Ducks. And Alex, we were talking about this. You're a former player as well. Sometimes teams will just lay down and fold in the NIT tournament. Was that the case last night for the LSU Tigers?
I would definitely wouldn't say laid down, because that would be giving them discredit. But it's a tough trip. They're going all the way out to Oregon. They're playing a tough team who was considered maybe one of the top 4 or the top 8 teams that got left out of the NCAA tournament. So they had a little bit of a disadvantage, and sometimes teams can be a little faulty at the end and kind of make mistakes prone and not be as into it as the Tigers were last night.
Let's talk about LSU basketball going into the future, going into the offseason. What are some things they need to work on, and is the future bright for Trent Johnson's program?
Absolutely. I think they have a lot of pieces in place that they can definitely build around. Justin Hamilton and Johnny O'Bryant III are definitely solid pieces in the post. However, they need to grow and mature and definitely be better post passers and passing out of the post and opening up for the shooters. Maybe a little Rawson Turner and Andre Stringer need to hit the gym a little more, get their shot more consistent. But in terms of the point guard and the depth next year, I think they should be contending for an SEC West title.
Trent Johnson talked about it. It's amazing that you say that. At the press conference earlier today, Trent Johnson was mentioning that Andre Stringer and Rawson Turner are both better than low percentage, 30% shooters just from the field in general. So
definitely.
You look at the guards and everything. Malik Morgan, the freshman coming in for LSU, Trent Johnson said that's definitely going to help improve the two-guard position.
They are also recruiting a few JUCO players that could immediately help the program as well.
All right, we'll see what happens to LSU basketball over this offseason. But we have you in here. You've been in the NCAA tournament.
Have been.
With the LSU Tigers. Before we get into the big-time bracket-busting material that you'll need to know when you fill out your final brackets for tomorrow morning, what goes into a college basketball upset? Just to remind everyone, when LSU, as a 4 seed, beat J.J. Redick and Coach K and the Duke Blue Devils as a 1 seed, you're a member of that team. Going into the game, what did John Brady tell you, and what was the team mentality? Going up against a team that is more historically heralded by college basketball lore, what did y'all do so special, and what goes in to making an upset in college basketball, especially during March Madness?
Well, especially some of the big-time teams, the Syracuses, the Dukes, you don't really need to get up for them. Their name speaks for itself. Just them walking in the gym and knowing that you're going to face them, that definitely goes into an upset. I don't think you need to motivate a team to play Duke, to play North Carolina, to play Kansas. These type teams, they're gunning for you. And what I'm saying is for an upset needs to happen, you definitely need to attack the opponent's weakness, obviously. But one of the most constructive things I ever heard from Coach Brady during that time was, all you need to do is win this one game. You don't need to win. You don't need to be the best out of the 68 teams tonight. All you need to do is just upset Duke or attack their weaknesses, whatever it may be, rebounding, defense, boxing out, whatever it may be. You definitely attack their weakness, but you need to believe from the get-go that you can definitely win and compete.
All right, let's go into the bracket right quick. Let's start off with those Kentucky Wildcats that Trent Johnson has been high on all year long. And looking Kentucky, they lost in the finals to Vanderbilt in the SEC tournament. Anthony Davis, Michael Kidd-Gilchrist. The list goes on and on for the Wildcats. Lamb, Teague, Miller. What do you think of the Kentucky Wildcats in the South bracket? It turns out it looks as if they got a bad draw in this one as a 1 seed, as the number 1 overall.
Well, that's the first thing that sticks out to me is that they got an awful draw. I think UConn presents a terrible matchup for them in the second round. They have size to match Kentucky's size. I think Anthony Davis definitely has a chance to take this tournament over and kind of show himself as being the number 1 player in the country. But it's going to be tough. They're young. They don't have a lot of experience at guard, especially Marquise Teague. I don't think he's mature, and he needs to kind of improve his decision making. But I definitely think Kentucky is the favorite at this point.
What makes Kentucky so special defensively? It just seems like day in and day out they make shots tough. It all starts with Anthony Davis there in the middle.
Yeah, well, they're active. They get after it, and it's the length. Anthony Davis, one of the most astonishing things about him is I think he's cut probably 75% of his block shots in play, which in essence, it's a turnover. So you're keeping the transition going instead of most players that block shots out of bounds. So it's definitely helps them in the transition and keeps their defense, turns their defense into offense.
Let's go throughout the South
Let's go.
bracket. You look at Wichita State, Indiana. Which one of those teams do you see coming out playing Kentucky in the Sweet 16 there?
I got Indiana. I think they match up size-wise. They got a big kid, Cody Zeller, who's a freshman. I really think that he's going to be the gem. He's a true center. He's got great footwork. He runs the floor, and he's definitely going to be able to bang with Anthony Johnson. So that'll be a great Sweet 16 matchup.
I think a team that people need to look out for is Wichita State. I like Stelz there in the middle. I
Yes.
like the way they move the ball around.
Terray Murray is a great senior.
And
senior
they're a
guard.
team that can score the basketball. They're a team that struggled towards the back end of the year, lost in their conference tournaments against the Redbirds there. So we'll see how Wichita, I think they beat Indiana there in the Sweet 16.
Okay.
Now let's go into the lower part of this bracket. Your Final Four team coming out of here.
Baylor.
The Baylor Bears. Why
Yes.
Baylor with Coach Drew?
I think this is their year. I think they put it all together. Perry Jones came back again. He didn't have to. He was going to be a maybe top 5, top 10 draft pick. He came back. They got great recruits in. Quincy Acey and Quincy Miller are two guys to look forward to. Long, lean athletes, can get above the rim, but also have a finesse game so they can run and turn, like we said earlier, turning defense into offense.
I want people to look out for UNLV, the Running Rebels.
Okay.
They have a great history. I think this is our most athletic team since those early
They're
90s
good.
teams. I think they're great. I think they end up beating Baylor there in the second
Okay.
round.
Okay.
All right, let's look at the Duke Blue Devils. How do you see this team playing out in this year's tournament?
I don't think they have it. Ryan Kelly went out recently. That kind of made them shoot more threes, which they like to do, but that's hot or cold. So one game they can come out and they can get stomped by, I have it predicted here, Xavier, because I think Xavier, Holloway,
The Musketeers.
Kenny Freeze. I think that combo inside and out definitely is going to overtake Duke.
Yeah,
I just don't. Coach K is a great coach. I just don't think they have it this year.
You look at Xavier, they're a team that's always a mainstay in the Sweet
Exactly.
16. And they're
been there before.
Yeah, and they've underperformed this year. They're a team I
Absolutely.
thought they'd be a little bit better. I thought they'd be a 5 or 6 seed instead.
Well, it's interesting to see the kind of, after the brawl of Xavier and Cincinnati, they kind of went in the opposite direction.
Exactly.
And we'll see how they do in the tournament.
All right, let's go to the bracket that Cincinnati's in. Let's start off with the Syracuse Orange. How about them? I think that's your lock amongst locks.
That's my lock, but I previously had them to go to the national championship and win it all, actually, but ever since Fab Melo went out, I'm a little skeptical. I still think they make it to the Final Four because, let's be honest, they have the most depth in the country. I'm loving C.J. Fair. He's a 6'9" wing player who can play inside and out, shoot the three. They got a lot of people coming off the bench, and my favorite are the 3 guards they can produce with Brandon Trish. And
yeah, I like Syracuse as well. You see some footage of them right now. They also have a guy that comes off the bench, Deion Waiters, a guy
that's my favorite. Yeah,
that went for 28 points in the Big East tournament. A guy that's really carried this team off the bench. But you look, they don't rebound the basketball well.
That's one question.
And then the second round, they'll probably face Coach Martin and the Kansas State Wildcats, a team that I like a lot in this year's tournament. But I'm still going with Syracuse.
Sure.
Now the team that they end up losing to, a team that people have always known chokes in the tournament, and it's my team that I actually have going to the Final Four out of this bracket, the Vanderbilt Commodores. And the reason why, I watched Vanderbilt play in person against Ole Miss, and they did one thing to that 2-3 zone. And you know, being a former guard, the key to a 2-3 zone is having shooters on the outside, and once those guards begin to spread out, put that guy at the high post and let him make a decision. They have a guy in Goldburn who went onto the high post, a guy that made All-SEC tournament team. If the big man came out on him, he just dished it down to Azili for an easy dunk. If everyone pushed back, throw it out to Taylor for a 3, throw it out to John Jenkins for a 3. The best shooter in the tournament is John Jenkins. He was the best player in the SEC tournament, the MVP of the tournament. I like Vanderbilt coming out of this bracket. What do you think of the Commodores going into this, or is this another choke year for Coach Tongs?
To be honest, I think they're going to struggle. John Jenkins and Jeffrey Taylor are their 2 main scorers, and they're great players, but they rely on them too much. Festus Azili inside is probably their most productive player underneath. Good rebounding, good passing the ball out, getting the ball in the transition. But the problem I see is they rely too much on 3-point shooting. And if they're not going to get it done against Wisconsin, because they can extend the pressure, they can force you to take tough shots, and when it comes down to it, they need more scores than Vanderbilt.
You're going with Bo Ryan and the Badgers, a team that's always in the mainstay in the NCAA tournament.
NCAA tournament, you got to go defense. Always go defense.
All right, let's go with the Florida State Seminoles. They are a hot team right now.
Very
Tommy
hot.
Chrysan has them in their national championship game on this side of the bracket. You look at Dolkeys, you look at this team under Coach Hamilton. What do you think of the Seminoles going into this tournament?
Well, I think they got two great post players. Bernard James is one of my favorite.
A guy that had a great tournament last year.
He did, and he affects the games in so many ways, whether it be altering shots, and definitely allows the guards to pressure up and filter everything into the middle. So I think they play through him, and offensively, Michael Snare. He's one of my favorite players in the country. He's a 6'4" All-American who can shoot it deep and drive, and he was the one who hit the game-winning shot against Duke, so he's a great player.
He's not a guy that's afraid to hit the big shot, like you said.
And you need that in the NCAA tournament, that's for sure.
I actually have Florida State losing to Mr. Gates in the Cincinnati Bearcats in the second round. I like the way Cincinnati's playing. They went deep in the Big East tournament. They're a team that can get hot from three-point range, and you saw that when they beat Syracuse in the Big East tournament. Now let's look at the bottom half of the region. You have Gonzaga, West Virginia, a team that everyone had as a top 5 team before the year. They end up being a 2 seed. The Ohio State Buckeyes, they play Loyola. How do you see this part of the bracket playing out?
Well, first, I see that Gonzaga is a quality team. However, I think they're going to struggle coming up against the West Virginia Mountaineers. Kevin Jones is one of the most underrated players in the country. He actually led the Big East in rebounding. He's one of the best offensive rebounders in the country. Wonderful player, so I think he's going to give Gonzaga plenty of problems. But Ohio State's going to be too much for both. Jared Solinger on the inside, William Buford, who is, I mean, one of the greatest scorers in Ohio State history, actually. And he's just a phenomenal player. I think they take over.
They need Aaron Craft to really step up and play the point and really control. And he's a guy that's one of the best pressure point guards. You're like that full court pressure when you play. Craft is one of those guys. I think that style of play is a little bit tough in a tournament play when you're playing game after game after game. I'm still deciding my bracket if I'm going with Cincinnati or Ohio State in that game. You look at Ohio State, Solinger, not an above-the-rim type of players. Those usually kind of guys struggle in the tournament when you play a guy such as Gates. So right now, I actually have Cincinnati beating Ohio State in that part of the region.
Aaron Craft does need to watch out, staying out of foul trouble, because Ohio State really has no depth behind him.
All right, this is Tigers Roar Television. We're going to be back right after this. We're going to go through quickly the Midwest and the West region. Remember, I'm also going to give what I shared on Pelican Sports Radio, what you need to do to fill out the bracket so you can find your lock for the Final Four this year. Stay tuned. You're watching Tigers Roar. That's Alex Farr. I'm Carter Bryant right here on Pelican Sports TV.
Hi, I'm Elizabeth Heinen, Miss Louisiana Team USA 2011.
And I'm Paige Pennick, Miss Louisiana USA 2011.
And you're watching Pelican Sports TV.
Hey, where you can expect to find the best pre-owns right here at North American Auto on Airline in Gonzales. Folks, every car comes with a warranty. Cars, trucks, SUVs, you name it, we got it. Get pre-approved, brcarcredit.com. Folks, don't you leave till you see me.
One of the key attributes that really puts Papa John's Pizza over the top is our meats. Nobody does what Papa John's does.
For just $11, get our new double-layered premium pepperoni pizza, loaded with a layer of our signature pepperoni, plus a layer of oversized deli-style pepperoni. Just $11 for a large. Plus, get double points all weekend long and earn free pizza fast with Papa Rewards, only at papajohns.com. Sign up now.
Better ingredients, better pizza, Papa John's.
I'm attorney Kerry Bryson. An IRS problem is a serious legal matter. The IRS has thousands of agents trained to understand it all. So don't trust an out-of-town salesperson. Come meet with us in person at our office right here in Baton Rouge. Your first visit will be free and confidential. If you're a Louisiana resident and have an IRS problem, hire a Louisiana attorney. Hire me, Kerry Bryson.
When you need to hire, you need to know about BetterBatonRougeJobs.com, BetterAcadianaJobs.com, and NewOrleansJobsList.com. We have a faster, more affordable way to find and hire employees. Now you can save even more with the special offer from Pelican Sports TV. Post your jobs on any of these sites and use the promo code Pelican Sports to save an additional $25. Find qualified applicants and save money too with promo code Pelican Sports. And remember, we're free for job seekers and great for Louisiana business.
Hey, you expecting a refund and want a new car? come to North American Automotive Group on Airline. We make it easy. Bring your W-2, file your taxes, use it towards your down payment, and drive home today. North American Auto on Airline.
Welcome back to Tigers Roar. Carter Bryant's still here with you, and I still don't know what happened to Tommy Chrysan here. He said he looks a lot younger.
He's getting better by the minute, huh?
Looks like this form of Tommy can beat me in one-on-one or in any sport, actually. But anyway, Alex, we got to go on to the Midwest bracket where the North Carolina Tar Heels, a team that's a mainstay as a #1 seed, it seems like every year now. North Carolina, they have, seems like they have a relatively easy run to the Elite Eight here.
Yeah, I definitely see them taking care of business. They're a great team. They have a lot of depth. The one question they do have is John Henson. How's his wrist doing? He's a big contributor in the middle for them. So it'll be something good to look over his health over the next couple weeks.
We'll see. I think Kendall Marshall is a key part of this team.
Great.
He's the point guard. And you look at the last national championship teams for North Carolina. You have Raymond Felton, and you also have Ty Lawson. And those guys were the best players in North Carolina during that tournament run. When you played North Carolina, talk about playing against a guy like Ty Lawson.
Well, obviously the point guard determines everything. They control the floor, and especially for North Carolina, it's so important for them to push the tempo and to kind of get easy baskets. So what Kendall Marshall does so well is he throws the ball up ahead and gets his other men involved. Tyler Zeller, John Henson, Reggie Bullock, and P.J. Hairston. They got a lot of talent on that team. So Kendall Marshall, it's going to take a lot. It's going to take a concerted effort from his part, but I think they have enough talent to get it done.
All right, let's look at the better bottom half of this bracket, where I think the worst 3 seed, actually, the Georgetown Hoyas, a team that I still don't have any clue made a 3 seed, which I actually do think Georgetown's the most overrated college basketball program in pretty much all college athletics. So you look at this bottom bracket, it seems like it's sort of an easy run for Kansas. It's a little bit tougher than Michigan, Creighton, and Alabama up there. Where do you see the bottom half of this bracket going?
I see Kansas taking care of business. Like North Carolina, they have so much talent, and I'm in agreement with you. That's actually one of my upset specials is Belmont taking care of Georgetown. Georgetown notoriously is known for slipping up in the first round.
That's right, the Hoyas.
Exactly. So I think this is their year that they slip up again. And KU, they play Purdue in the third round, and I think that'll be an easy game as well for them.
All right, we'll see what happens to the Kansas Jayhawks. But now over to the West bracket, where you have the team that I have as my lock for the Final Four because it's a head coach you trust. And I was sharing this earlier on Pelican Sports Radio. People, when you fill out your bracket, fill out the teams who you think is the most talented team, pick a couple of upsets in there, and then go through it an hour later, go through it a second time, and you look and see who are the guys that usually play for that program that you trust, who are the head coach that you trust, do they have the right players in a tough matchup for that head coach to take it to the next level. I think Tom Izzo is that guy, and that's why I think Michigan State is my lock for the Final Four.
Well, I'm going to top that. I actually think Mizzo is better. Their coach, their chemistry between their players and Frank Haith, I think, is real special.
Ooh.
They're a great team.
The Tigers.
They play a 4-guard around center, and their 4 guards all can handle the ball, all can shoot threes, and they play inside out, so that really puts pressure on the inside of the defenses. So I just don't think that Michigan State has it this year. They're a little soft at guard. They lost Brennan Dawson.
That was huge.
So, yeah, I think they're going to struggle.
You look at what Michigan State has inside, though. I think Nix, I think Payne, and the best player who I think in this tournament is Draymond Green. The most valuable player in this tournament, I think, is Draymond Green. And I think when you look at the Dancing Bear, I think he's going to find a way to get Michigan State getting to the next level. I think a pick that everyone's has pretty popular right now is Memphis over St. Louis. Just really briefly, even though both those teams are going to get crushed by Michigan State in the second round.
Better be careful.
St. Louis is going to crush Memphis. I want people to know that that is a lock because Josh Pastner is a coach that's not good. He's just not a good coach. You're going up against Rick Majerus, who was the hottest name in coaching 10 years ago. But when you look at the rest of this bracket, you look at Louisville, a team that got hot, won the Big East tournament there with Peyton Silva. They get beat by Michigan State there in the Sweet 16. Then you have Michigan State against my team that I think they're going to face in the Elite Eight. I like the Florida Gators beating Missouri in the second round. Tell me why I'm wrong.
I think that's a great pick. I think I went back and forth with Missouri and Florida because I think Florida's very talented and definitely, especially in NCAA
better than a 7 seed for sure.
Absolutely. I think definitely in the NCAA, it's all about star power. And when it comes to star power, they got Bradley Beal, they got Kenny Boynton, Patrick Young. They're talented inside, but I don't think they can match up with Mizzou's speed, quickness, and overall just the chemistry and just what they have. Missouri sports, their two-guard, Marcus Denham, is probably my favorite player in the country. He can fill it up.
And he's clutch. He
loves
takes
to take the big shots, and
Don't you
that's
just
what
love
you
those
really
guys?
need. Exactly.
That was Marcus Thornton for you.
It was
huh?
Marcus. His game is very, very similar to Marcus Thornton. I would definitely compare those two.
A guy like Denman, undersized a little bit as a two-guard, but he always finds ways to get space for his jump shot. We're talking about that the other day. You look at what Missouri has in their backcourt. The Pressey brothers. I like Phil Pressey. I like the way he runs the show. And Dixon is a guy that comes in and out of the games.
They're
and
good.
He could take over at any point in time. I think the one thing I hate about this Missouri team, they remind me too much of the Scott Wright Villanova teams where they would sometimes struggle when it gets to the Final Four and those kind of regions. I think Michigan State just has too much inside if Missouri gets to that state. I think Florida, though, because Frank Haith is a guy that's not been there, and once again, I'm a big coach guy.
Missouri's been there, though.
Missouri's been there, but Frank Haith hasn't been there.
Missouri's
and
been
Frank
there.
Haith has showed me a little bit of uncertainty down the stretch. Billy Donovan has been there, and Billy Donovan's team this year has the talent to get there. I like what Patrick Young is playing right now. I like his post moves against Anthony Davis, and I think Brad Beal is a guy that's really starting to catch stride. Now, Alex, before we let you go, who is a sleeper, maybe a double-digit seed, maybe a 4 or 5 seed that could sneak into this year's Final Four?
My high seed sleeper has got to be Long Beach State.
Casper Ware.
They've been a favorite of mine for a long time, and I just love what they present. They have about 4 seniors in their starting lineup. Casper Ware is their best player, dynamic guard, can do a lot, and to be honest, he can take over a tournament. He can take over a city. He's that good. He will be playing on the NBA one day, so I definitely want to keep an eye on Long Beach State.
What about a 4 or 5 seed?
4 or 5,
there?
Louisville.
Maybe a 6.
Louisville. I love the way Louisville's playing right now.
Coach Pitino.
See, we talked about this earlier. I trust Ruck Pitino. He's a great coach. He's proven it before. And Peyton Siva, there's something about him. He has that little special flair that I like.
And you also have J.R. Smith's brother, Chris Smith, a guy that's a great winger, really athletic. I like the way Louisville's playing basketball right now.
Chase Bohannon's a good player.
I just think Michigan State, I'm so high on them this year, and I really do think that they have it all, not only to get to the Final Four and to win it all. Right now, who do you have winning it all?
Missouri. I'm a believer.
Wow.
I think that Kim English.
It's a little too early for that SEC bias. You know that, right?
Exactly. What Kim English presents to the floor, he's a foreman that spreads it out, allows Missouri to do so many things, and he's so tough to guard. And when he's guarding the 4 men on opposite teams, he presents a tough factor. So I think they cut the nets down in NOLA.
Once again, that's Alex Farr right here. My man, we always have a good
Thanks
time.
for having me.
A pit bull good time, I guess you could say.
Hey, exactly.
Let's have a... No, I'm kidding. Anyway, former LSU basketball player, a guy that knows how to get an upset done. Beating
Absolutely.
coaches I can trust. Let's see how many upsets we can have in the March Madness. Once again, we'll have Tommy Kryson back with you on Tigers Roar. But right now, I'm going to take you into the Louisiana Hall of Fame with Debbie Traylor. Take it away, guys.
Between Monday night football and Friday night fights, I'm lucky if I get to see a show that I like. He never hears the phone or the doorbell ring. I don't try to understand him. It's a made-up fact.